Hello everyone. This is going to be the first video in my series of Hindi lessons, and I kind of wanted to cover a little bit about how we're going to go about learning Hindi. It's a complicated language, it's a new language, it's easy in some ways and difficult in others, and I just wanted to give a little outline of kind of how we're going to be approaching Hindi and how you can become conversational. It's not easy, obviously, but with enough work and determination, you can definitely do it. So I like to think of our Hindi adventure in three different parts. Number one, you have grammar. Number two, you have vocabulary. And number three, you have conversation. So I'll talk about each one of these briefly. Grammar is the rules of the language, right? Things like verbs, nouns, pronouns, right? It's the rules of how you form a sentence. How do you say something happened in the past? How do you say something is going to happen in the future? How do you refer to yourself or a third person? How do you use prepositions and all these other things? The grammar is the rules, and it's very important to learn. But if all you know is grammar and you don't know any vocabulary words, then you can't really say anything. So vocabulary is basically all just memorization, right? Vocabulary is about learning all the different Hindi words. How do you say water? How do you say road? How do you say car? How do you say all the different words that you're going to want to use in conversation? On the flip side, if all you know is vocabulary and no grammar, then you know a lot of words, but you don't really know how to use them in a sentence. So that doesn't do you much good either. So vocabulary and grammar have to be learned at the same time, because as you learn more words, you also need to know how to use them, right? I know the word for to eat now, so how do I use to eat in the past tense? So the vocabulary and the grammar work together. And finally, conversation. This is practice, right? This is listening to people, learning to translate what they're saying. This is learning how to say things yourself. It's taking the vocabulary and grammar and putting them into practice, much like you would with a sport or something. And it's really the only way you'll learn how to be able to have a conversation. Learning the grammar, and vocabulary is very important, but without the conversational practice, you'll never get used to using it in everyday life. So we're going to cover each of these three equally, hopefully, and I hope that you develop your Hindi and eventually be able to have a conversation with someone. So I'll see you in the next lesson.